I'm flipping.
You see, it's not that I don't have a sense of humor. It's just that I laugh randomly. Now let me tell you a little bit more about myself, okay? So just sit back and relax. Alright, you see, Willard is my name. That is who I is. Even though I'm Willard, you can call me Popadibs. I really like to talk and I really love to eat. I even name my username after a chocolate treat. If you like my channel, then sit back and listen. And if you truly love me, you bring me your piece of chicken.
You know, I got up today and I got my bowl of Captain Crunch cereal because everybody knows that Captain Crunch cereal is the best. If it didn't do that thing to the roof of your mouth, it would be selling it at baseball games, concession stands, YouTube, everywhere, man. They would be selling Captain Crunch t-shirts. It would be a name brand. But the purpose of this video is not to tell you about how wonderful Captain Crunch cereal is. What I do want to tell you though is that I decided to plop down on the couch, set up the table, and flip through the stations because I'm multi-talented like that, baby. And anyways, when I flipped through the stations, I decided to watch the Tyra Banks show.
What?
Because everybody knows that the Tyra Banks show is the best show in the world.
What?
Actually, I'm just kidding. I know that the Tyra Banks show is not the best show in the world. You can trust me on that.
Okay.
However, it did remind me of something that I watched yesterday on one of my favorite YouTube channels. And I'm going to leave an annotation and a description. Because he makes valid points on every single video that I've witnessed. And for some reason, you have these kind of deja vu or aha moments. You see, the Tyra Banks show kind of touched on some of the same topics that he touched on, but from a different perspective. You see, on this episode of Tyra Banks, there were these women that were prostitutes and strippers and porno stars and such. You know, the type of woman that you would want to take home to mama, you know, because you know how mothers love strippers and, you know, oh, your mom's a stripper? I'm sorry, I didn't know.
You know, if I could, I would be giving you the middle finger. You ass.
Whoa, come down, come down. Goodness, man. I didn't know. Jeez. Some people, man. I mean, jeez. Did anybody know that his mom was a stripper?
Yeah.
I can't believe you kept this a secret from me, man. All this time you knew.
Let's get this mother crunk.
Wow. Just wow. Anyways, these women put themselves in sexually compromising and dangerous positions. And it really doesn't irritate me what these women are doing for the most part because it's their choice. You know, they have the right to do it, I guess, even though it's done illegally. And, you know, basically if you're doing something that's illegal, doesn't that make you a criminal? So I guess if you do something illegal, make sure you go to the Tyra Banks show and you won't get arrested for it. How does that work? What does irritate me, however, is that my population, the male population, is blamed for these women's misconduct. How? It's simple. You see, we're blamed for exploiting these women for their poor choices. None of these women were ashamed of what they were doing. As a matter of fact, they were arguing with one another over who was better based on their status. Like prostitutes thought they were better than strippers. Strippers thought they were better than porno stars or such like that. So basically, they were arguing with one another over which position was better. I mean, this isn't like a regular job, like a cashier thinking they're better than a bagger, which is stupid anyways. It's still stupid, but this is like more ethical. Not one of them were doing something ethical. It's like a cheater, a liar, and a thief all arguing with one another over who's the most moral, which is stupid. What also irritates me is the fact that none of the women in attendance, neither did Tyra Banks, really call these women out and bring up the fact that their negative behaviors actually affect the communities in an adverse way. They didn't bring up the fact of how they contribute to the detriments of society. No, they would much rather blame men, still put men at fault for exploiting these women. That's hypocrisy. You know, come to think of it, the women in attendance were actually laughing. But you know, how could you blame them? I mean, we all know how funny using sex to get money is. That brings me to a point in Thugtician's video, how in Saudi Arabia, women aren't allowed to be sexually promiscuous, sexually provocative, or even show any skin. And that's considered oppression at the hands of men, that women are being hindered from having those liberations. Yet, in westernized countries like America, where women are free to exercise those privileges, whenever a woman does exercise those privileges, she's still being oppressed at the hands of men because men are exploiting them for sex, when in reality, they're exploiting themselves. And they are choosing. They are exercising the freedom to do that. Take slavery, for instance. Exploiting slavery and exploiting sex, both of them would be wrong. Both of them would be bad. Would you say convincingly and actually believe that a person who sells someone for slavery is less guilty of exploiting slavery than the person who buys a person for slavery? If you can honestly make a convincing argument that selling a slave would make you less guilty of exploiting slavery than buying a slave would make you, then maybe you can attempt to make an argument that selling sex makes you less guilty of exploiting it than buying it. But you can't change the truth, and therefore you can't make a convincing argument. What is the difference? Both of them get paid. Both of them made a conscious decision. It's means to an end. Both the people that buy and the people that sell are guilty. But all this time, we've been told that our side of the equation is guilty, but not the ones selling. So how much of a fool would I sound like if I were to say people who sold slaves were innocent, but the people who bought them were guilty of exploiting slavery? I would sound just as much like a fool as someone who could suggest that somebody who sold sex was less guilty than somebody who bought it. So it's time for people to wake up and smell the coffee. And if you don't like coffee, then smell the cornflakes. And if you don't like cornflakes, smell the Captain Crunch. Because seriously, the truth doesn't change. It isn't affected by what people choose to believe. It's just a matter of whether or not we choose to believe the truth. So, good job, Thugtician, on the video that you did. I agree with a lot of what you say on most of your videos, and keep up the good work. And I'm gonna get moving now. Until next time, take care and have a good day.